And everything is all right in the world. How are things with you, Brian?
Summer's here. It's like it got way up into the 80s today in Texas. So,
Yeah, it
but
was.
things are good.
Yeah, I went for a hike in shorts yesterday here in Colorado, which is not bad for late March. So,
Right.
this is Dream Idiots. My name is Morris. That's Brian.
Howdy.
Each week, one of us tells a story and the other reacts, and we might have updates. We might have uh, little tidbits here and there, and we definitely will have a curse word of the week. Brian, where can the folks find us?
As always, check us out at dreammedias.com. You can see the whole back catalog of episodes there. We're on Facebook and Instagram at Dream Idiots. Drop us a line if you want to. Our email is dreamidiotspodcast at gmail. If you go to the website, there's a contact us form as well. You can send us a story idea, send us a curse word, do just say hi if you want. And as always, thanks for hanging in there with us and tagging along.
And Brian, you have a special announcement.
Well, a little bit. So looking back through our back catalog and the various episodes that have done well, and some episodes have done less well in terms of listenership, true crime podcasts are head and shoulders the most popular thing going. Of our 100 and pushing 170 episodes, we have 20 or 30, I think, that you could say are true crime related. And so we're going to start dumping some of those episodes under the new moniker Crime Idiots. So if you don't want to subscribe to our content, that's just our random silliness, and you just want to focus on crime stuff, by all means, on whichever platform you're on, just look up Crime Idiots, and you'll find just the crime related stuff there. But the website remains the same, dreamidiots.com. So just trying to split it up a little bit and so we'll see how that goes. Go have a little bit of help with the research going forward as well. Katie over at Malice and Mocktails is going to be helping out a little bit
Oh, wow.
on
Cool.
some
I didn't know
research
that. Yeah.
because I don't have time. So she volunteered to help me out on one story that I'm working on, and so we'll have some more stuff coming here soon.
Yeah. So if you like the stories like Phantom of Hellebron, your story about the Flapper, I suppose we could even say the owl is missing. Sammy the owl is missing. Any of my missing notes stories. Probably Flory Fisher fits into that category because she definitely had a crime-filled life.
Absolutely.
If you like that kind of stuff, that'll be over on the Crime Idiots feed, as well as here. It'll still be here, but we're going to chop those up to where you might have just like the one story that deals specifically with crime, so you can pass it along to you. You might have a friend who's only into true crime, and these guys sometimes tell true crime stories, so
Right.
you can pass that along to them as well.
Yeah. So we're trying to be a slightly more niche. So like and share and subscribe both if you want.
And if you don't like the true crime stuff, if you like the goofy silliness and the silly goofiness for that matter, we'll still have that here. So speaking of which,
Cool.
Brian, you get to go first because this is episode 169, which is the square of a prime number, which is cool. You get to go first. What do you have for us this week, Brian?
All right, got a little story for you, and this story will absolutely live over. This will be the probably the debut one living over on Crime Idiots as well, as you will soon see. David Glenn Lewis was born in 1953 in Borger, Texas. He graduated high school in 1972 and then attended Texas Tech University, where he graduated with an honors degree in poli sci. Then went over to Texas Tech and went to law school. 1979, he graduated with a JD, and shortly thereafter returned to Amarillo, Texas,
Okay.
Yellow, Texas, and set up his law practice in the summer, fall of 1979. Amarillo, Texas. I'm convinced that Amarillo, Texas, San Angelo, Odessa, and Abilene are all the same town. I can't tell them apart. David married his wife, Karen, in 1981. 3 years later, in 84, they welcomed a baby daughter. Beyond his family and legal practice, David's hyper involved in the Amarillo community. He taught Sunday school. He was on the board of directors for the Dumas Community Education Advisory Council, whatever the hell that is.
That's way up
Uh,
there in Dumas, Texas. Yeah.
and he was a district chairman for Boy Scouts of America, a role you may have held at one point. I'm not sure if you were that high.
Oh, no, 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 no.
District chairman.
No.
Uh, And he was an active lawyer. He was a judge of some sort for a period of time as well. And then he also taught law classes at night at a community college in town.
That's a pretty impressive resume. I mean, all he's missing is, second string Harlem Globetrotter, and he's got it made.
Right.
That's
Yeah. So, colleagues, friends, family, I mean, just really rave about the guy. Dedicated family man, very, very strong commitment to the Amarillo community, big into doing charitable work, had a close relationship. He had one sibling, a brother he was close to, and his parents were Herschel and Esther Lewis. Good, World War World War
hmm
II era names. So, flashing forward here a little bit, during Super Bowl weekend, 1993. This is the last weekend in January. The Super
hmm
Bowl, those in the Super Bowl that year were,
It would probably be the Bills and the Cowboys.
yeah,
Yeah.
Bills and the Cowboys. The Cowboys spanked the Bills. I think it was 52 to
17.
17.
hmm
And so that weekend, Karen Lewis and their now 9-year-old daughter had planned a shopping trip to Dallas. So driving to Dallas to shop for the weekend. Dallas is 400 miles away, but they left their Amarillo home and headed to Dallas. They left on that Thursday, January 28th, and left David home alone for the weekend. David worked that day, Thursday, all day.
hmm
On Friday, January 29th, he did go to work, but he complained he was feeling sick and went home early from work. But he did teach his night class on the evening of the 29th. Records later on indicate that David was seen on January 30th on Saturday, although details about who saw him or where he was seen have never been publicly disclosed. But he was in town somewhere and someone spotted him. When Karen and the kiddo return home on Sunday, the 31st, they walk into the house and they're sort of surprised that David is nowhere to be found. I think they arrive, it's not exactly clear, in the afternoon or early evening, and they find a few things. There is, remember VHS tape recorders? Remember having a collection of VHS, all the shit
hmm
you record,
hmm
all the shit you recorded, all the money we all spent on that crap? They found a VCR recording the Super Bowl, which is a 9-hour block with all the pregame and all the insanity. Very carefully labeled VHS tape, labeled Super Bowl 27. There are a couple freshly made sandwiches sitting in the refrigerator. David's wedding ring and his watch are carefully placed on the kitchen counter. No signs of violence, no signs of a struggle, but his car is gone. Initially, Karen assumes, he got an invite to go over to the neighbor or a friend, or he's somewhere in town watching the game somewhere else, or who knows? Kind of a I mean, Amarillo is like a really big small town. He
hmm
ran down to get a 6-pack of beer, or he's running a quick errand. He'll be right back. Hours pass. David does not return. The next day, February 1st, Monday, David is still missing, and Karen reports his disappearance to the Amarillo police. The next day, Tuesday the 2nd, the cops find his red Ford Explorer parked outside the Potter County Courts building in downtown Amarillo. In one account, this is listed as being unusual. I don't know why it would be unusual considering he's an attorney and he worked in downtown Amarillo, but that's apparently that's odd. Inside the car, they find his house keys, his car keys tucked under the floor mat. His checkbook is there, wallet with credit cards, his driver's license is there, all fine. Combined with the wedding ring and the watch left at home, it kind of looks like nothing of his is missing. So that's sort of puzzling. The investigation, progresses, and police start talking to Karen and asking pointed questions like, "Is everything okay? Are there money
hmm
issues? What's
What
going
kind of
on?"
sandwiches did he leave behind?
Right?
The important stuff.
Were they pimento cheese?
Yeah,
That's a telltale
that's
sign.
yeah.
At some point prior, he had apparently confided to her that he was worried that his life was in danger, but he didn't really elaborate as to why or what the threat was or
hmm
what the risk was. David's family, extended family, suggested that it might be tied to his work as an attorney. I've known indirectly a couple of attorneys who were murdered by clients in nasty divorce cases. I mean, attorneys get involved and people get pissed off, and threats are made. So
Sure.
maybe there's a disgruntled client out there who is pissed off. And adding to the weight of this is that he was scheduled to give a deposition in Dallas the following week in a conflict of interest case involving some wealthy client and a former law firm. And, so there was some stress there, some pressure there. And so maybe that's related to his disappearance. But, in spite of all this, the investigation just goes nowhere because ultimately there's no real evidence of a crime. I mean, he may have just wandered off. We don't, we, there's no sign anything really bad has happened. It didn't find blood. He's just poof vanished, and his whereabouts are unknown. Well, they're still searching for David in Texas. Something else starts to unfold 1,600 miles away in Yakima County in Washington State. So Yakima County is sort of south central Washington State. So you're an hour from Portland, 2 or 3 hours from Seattle. On the evening of February 1st, the same day that Karen reports him missing, there's a couple driving down Route 24 near Moxie, Washington, who it's 10:30 at night on a dark road. If you've ever driven in Washington State, it's not like driving in Central Texas. Lots of windy, dark roads
Hmm.
through huge fucking forest, right? They swear that they see someone, a person, maybe walking, maybe sitting on the ground, but definitely alive and moving on Route 24 near Moxie. They pass him. I think that's weird. Maybe he needs, maybe he's in trouble, needs help. They try to circle back around and go back to him, but it takes them a while to find a spot where they can
Yeah,
suitably,
because yeah,
easily turn back around. When they go back, they find that the person that they saw the first time has been struck by a car and is bleeding. There's blood everywhere, and this person is now dead on the side of the road.
Jesus.
And they witness a Camaro leaving the area. Police figure out that this is a middle-aged man. He's dressed in work boots and camo. They collect his body, send him off. Talk screen reveals no booze, no drugs, in his system at all, and he's basically just a victim of, in the middle of the night in pitch black of a hit and run accident in the middle of nowhere, and they just label him a John Doe. There's no ID in his body,
Hmm.
and so there's no way of knowing that this has any connection to a missing attorney in Amarillo. Back in Texas, investigators are still doing some digging, and they find more interesting evidence, but it's unclear what the evidence really means. They find that two plane tickets had been purchased in David's name. The first had been purchased on January 31st for a flight from Dallas to Amarillo. The second ticket, purchased on February 1st, was a flight from LAX to Dallas. The purpose of these tickets is unknown. It's not clear whether David purchased them himself, if they were used. How would David have traveled from Amarillo to Dallas without his car? Because he left the car behind in Amarillo. And was he intending to go through Los Angeles? There's no answers to any of these questions and no apparent evidence of any crime. Uh, and so after a while, the police just kind of give up and they close the case after
Do they
11
actually
months.
find the tickets, or do they just find credit card records of the tickets?
They find evidence of the purchase, but and apparently, but 1993, pre 9/11, I'm not sure how good the records were. The
Yeah.
implication seems to be that the purchase was made in his name, but it's unclear who actually, what credit card was used.
Okay.
So there's a physical ticket of some sort, but 93, we weren't booking tickets online in 93.
No.
So but it's clear tickets were purchased, but why and by who is sort of unknown. So after
Okay.
11 months, they say, we don't know. I mean, for all we know, this guy's on a beach somewhere. We have no evidence that there's actually a crime here. The guy's just gone. Uh, Years pass. In 2002, uh, police, look at the case again and acknowledge to press at the time that they think that David just up and left. He voluntarily left. That he just deserted his family and he's just poof gone. A year later, in 2003, a detective named Pat Ditter comes across a newspaper series called Without a Trace that details flaws in missing persons investigations. In 1993, there was obviously no internet, no sharing of data across jurisdictions. There's no repository beyond printed hard copies of shit. And this detective goes in and starts to try to piece together missing persons cases in Washington State to cases that are elsewhere. By 2003, there is at least something in the way over the internet. It's not much, but progress is being made. After a week of diving into this, Ditter has compiled a list of potential matches of various John and Jane Does to cases that are in Washington State. One of these is David Glenn Lewis. There's a photo of Lewis on the what's called the Doe Network, and
Hmm.
it's a pretty good resemblance of the dead guy on the side of the road in Yakima County. Um, and he's, Ditter at first is a little bit hesitant because, the photos don't quite match. And he's unclear if the guy on the side of the road was wearing glasses, then realized when he goes back and looks at the evidence log that the body, that guy had glasses on him and just he was not photographed with them. He had glasses in a pocket or something.
Yeah, or
Uh,
they've been knocked off of them when he
got
got
knocked
hit.
off and he
Yeah.
got smacked, right? So he's now, more and more, you know, convinced that the missing, his John Doe is David. He reaches out to the Amarillo police and sends them items for DNA analysis. Again, this is over 20 years ago. One of the boots the victim had preserved. There was blood or tissue of some sort in the boot on the side of the road. David's mother Esther gave a DNA sample to compare it to, and in October 2004, 11 years after he goes missing, the DNA analysis comes back, and Ditter is absolutely correct. The unidentified body in Yakima County is David Glenn Lewis. So, how much
Wow.
does this fucking help? Uh, while David's body has finally been identified, the circumstances of all this still don't make any more sense than they did, really. They've connected some of these dots, but it's all kind of shrouded in mystery. Law enforcement theorizes that David left on his own accord. He wanted a divorce. He was unhappy with his life. Whatever the heck it was, but he walked away. Ditter actually thinks that the death was accidental. It wasn't a suicide. I mean, it had to be an accident. You can't murder someone like this, and you wouldn't commit suicide this way. I'm gonna travel 1,600 miles and throw myself in front of a Camaro in the middle of nowhere. That makes no sense. But again, there's still just an open. Yeah, it's open ended completely. Why would an attorney and a family man travel 1,600 miles to a state where he had no connections? He left all of his belongings behind, including his wedding ring. Why was he wearing camo? He's not a military guy, and he's not a hunter. Um, and you know, perhaps the most troubling thing is what danger was there to him. Really, there's not much evidence to it, but beyond a little bit of anecdotal evidence that there might be a threat to his safety. But how much of that was just his imagination? The plane tickets as well. If David intended to return to Texas from Washington State via Los Angeles, why is he walking down a country road in the middle of nowhere? Uh, and someone else bought tickets. What's their motive? In 1993, another article dove into this case and discovered that $5,000 had been deposited into one of David's accounts on January 30th. And there had been at least one airport sighting of him around this time. But again, these are just fragments of a story that don't really help at all. This guy vanishes. His wife and his daughter have no idea what happens to him for 11 years. And having the body come back, I guess, provides a certain level of, they always talk about closure. I think closure is horseshit, personally.
Hmm.
Um, but again, was it a hit and run? Did he have some sort of mental breakdown? I don't know. I also don't understand how. I mean, how do you get 1,600 miles away in about 28 hours? You don't drive. I mean, there's no way you drive from Amarillo to Central Washington State in 24 hours through. I mean, going through your part of the world. There's no way to do that. Probably.
Mm. No, I mean, it seems unlikely unless he drove just like a bat out of hell.
Lots of Adderall and go, go, go.
In January, I mean,
Right.
yeah, highly unlikely.
So really strange, really tragic case. I mean, you and I we have both lost both of our parents, during the course of our lives. Losing a parent is awful and painful, and grief is weird and shitty. But you kind of expect to lose your parents, and even if you lose your parents suddenly, uh, that is, from an emotional standpoint, something your brain can comprehend.
Hmm.
This just feels like the worst version of purgatory I could ever imagine. I actually have a close friend who had a sister vanish when he was a child, and he said it was like everything was on pause. And it was on pause for years and years and years and years until we found out what happened to her. And they did find out eventually, but it took like a decade. Just awful. And again, no one really has any idea how he managed to traverse this huge distance only to wind up dead on the side of a road.
Do you have a calculation as to how far it is? I'll have to look that up. He was in Yakima County,
So 1,600 miles
1,600 miles. Yeah,
as the crow
that's
flies. So if you were driving from Amarillo to the east, driving across the plains where it's flat as a pancake, maybe, but I don't know, super weird. And the only thing that makes
got to cross the mountains at least once,
right,
and then you get into the Cascades, and it's yeah. I
yeah.
don't.
He was teleported. I have no idea how this guy got there.
Do you think he was listening to the Super Bowl? Just asking. I mean,
Yeah, well,
it
could be.
seems like he was really all set to watch it and record it and
And something happened.
enjoy it. And
He had the brain embolism and something happened and he was triggered and he left. But anyway, sad
or
for
the
that family, but a weird story.
Super Bowl weekend provided the perfect cover for him to do whatever the hell it was he thought he was doing. And what airport was he sighted at? Do you know?
I think just a regional airport out in the middle of nowhere in Washington State.
Oh, okay. So on that end, as opposed to like whatever's in Amarillo or DFW or LAX or okay.
Right. Was not seen at LAX as far as I know.
Wow, that's just weird.
Yeah. So anyway, interesting little tale.
Yeah, that's a creepy one. That's and just the thought of coming back from shopping. So they go to Dallas and hit Neiman Marcus and do all that stuff and drive all the way back to
An empty
Amarillo and
house.
find that
Right.
the wedding ring, the watch, uh, like things that he couldn't. What kind of watch was it? You don't want to lose your wedding ring. I mean, like when I work outside in the garden or work on a car or something, I always take my wedding ring off for a variety of
Hmm.
reasons. Um, go on a hike, I'll take the wedding ring off and leave it at home just because I don't want to lose it. But your watch, all those pimento cheese sandwiches left on the bar, that's weird.
Yep.
That's weird. Well, thanks, Brian. That'll be a
Yeah.
sleepless night for me. Thank
Oh
you.
yeah. Anytime.
Hmm. Well, do you want to make you feel better?
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I got a curse word of the week.
Go for it.
Brian, have you ever heard the phrase? And here, if this is the first time, our curse word of the week, the idea of a curse word, first of all, sometimes it's a phrase. Most of the time it's in German. And sometimes it's less about cursing and more about just kind of expressing yourself. You ever heard the phrase yodeling turtle?
Link turtle now.
Well, I hadn't heard it for a long time, and I had the recent opportunity. A cousin of mine was in town, and she spent quite a bit of time with us the last few days. And I got to thinking about one of our grandfather's cousins who was ancient when I was born, and I knew him a little bit when I was a kid before he passed away. But he used to tell stories about a yodeling turtle,
Hmm.
and it was somehow related to the myth, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. Um, re the idea that you see turtles on the road when it's about to rain. You ever hear that when you were a kid?
Yeah, sure.
Um, and then, of course, there's the whole idea of the turtle myth in creation and legend that turtles form four infinite stacks that elephants stand on, and the elephants are shouldering the world. There's the great turtle, which I think is the force for good in the Stephen King novels. George R. Martin in the Wild Card novels has a character called the Great and Powerful Turtle. Just this kind of mythology about the turtle being this kind of almost eternal guardian of the earth, and just this force of nature and a force for general light in the universe. And so he used to tell these stories about the yodeling turtle. And I looked it up and tried to find out what exactly that meant. And I did find a children's book by a guy named Bill Myers, not Moyers, but Bill Myers, called The Yodeling Turtle. But as I remember these stories, the yodeling turtle basically is supposed to be the symbol of something that is rare and unique and beautiful. And if you get to see one of them in your lifetime, you're lucky. So always be on the lookout,
Hmm.
or the ear out for a yodeling turtle,
Hmm.
because you'll be in the presence of something special and unique, and something you will most likely not see or hear ever again.
Okay.
Yeah,
I like it.
I do too. And I
Yeah.
also I also picture a little quite frankly, a little turtle in a lederhosen with a with a big alpine horn and a little hat with a feather in it.
saying Ricola.
Yeah, what do you call it? All right.
Yodeling turtle. All right.
Uh, yep. So that's it, folks. Keep it together for us. Until next time, be good to each other and check out Crime Idiots. Thanks.
Yes, Dream Idiots and Crime Idiots, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for hanging in there and listening with us again. We appreciate it, and we'll be back again.
Sounds good. All right.